All right, on to Rapper's Delight. Yo, Rapper's Delight dropped in fall of 1979. I guess late summer of 1979. Sugar Hill Gang, as you saw in hip hop years, they weren't a hip hop group. They weren't like the Cold Crush Brothers or, the Fantastic Five or the Jazzy Five or, none of that shit. They were literally just some dudes. Now, Sylvia Robinson, who owned Sugar Hill Records and who, was a soul singer and stuff, she was at her son's birthday party. I think she heard DJ Hollywood. I can't remember. She heard someone there doing like hip hop style stuff. And she wanted to cut a record like that. She knew it was like popular with the kids. And basically, she tried to get to Flash. She tried to get to all these people and be like, yo, I want to cut this record. I want to do this record. She had her son, reach out to people. And no one wanted to do it because they're like, no one's going to like pay to hear us cutting up other people's records on record. They come to the jams. They come to the, the rec areas. They come to the parks. They come to the gymnasiums or what roller skate rinks and shit. They're not gonna do this, and they all like said no to her, and we're like whatever. And so she literally cobbled together a few dudes, and the whole story with Big Bank Hank was he was a bouncer for Cold Crush, and him and Grandmaster Caz tell the story a little bit differently, but he basically asked Caz if he could borrow his rhyme book, and he left in the CAS, the NOVA, like the Casanova Fly, which was Grandmaster Caz. That was like part of one of his routines and all that stuff. But they were like a boy band, they were like a manufactured band. And, everybody thought, when they heard the record, they loved it. I mean, it kind of blew up like crazy. And people would play the whole fucking record, like all 14 minutes of it, which was kind of unheard of. They couldn't keep it in stock at the record stores at the time. And it's the best-selling 12-inch of all time, 12-inch single of all time. It played on a bunch of different types of radio too, R&B, urban style radio. But it got a lot of play, college radio, etc. But this is, in many ways, it represents the turn from emceeing live, microphone controlling, master of ceremonies to rapper, to rapping, right? And the main thing is you have people, instead of rocking a crowd, being able to freestyle, being authentic cultural members, etc., performing on record to sell a record, right? So like this is the first step in massification of incorporating a subculture into the mainstream. It helped make rap music, though, go beyond New York City. It brought MCing styles, at least hip-hop cultural styles, out of the tri-state area. It made rap and hip-hop go national. It made it go international because this was an international hit. You talk to any older head, and I'll say older than me, 50-year-old that, listens to rap music and has, like, most likely, if they're like 50 years old, right, like born in 1970, right, the first rap song they heard that caught their ear, eyes, heart, whatever, was Rapper's Delight. Okay, so it was important too, right, because it helped the culture move outside of the Bronx. I mean, you got to think about this. Like, here's this thing going on, this edgy, subcultural, popular, cool, new, hip thing going on in New York City, mind you, of all places, where it takes 6 years for it to go viral. Now, that speaks to the speed of things 40, 50 years ago. Right now, like something cool like that happens, in a place, and within 2 days, that shit's on TV, right? That stuff's being used in ads because things go viral so fast now. But virility was like the slow slow process 40, 50 years ago. But yeah, I mean, this was a sanitized, inauthentic disco song. I mean, it just didn't sound anything like real hip hop record, real hip hop, not records, but real hip hop performances sounded like. Now, obviously, we have some issues of theft here. Kaz having his rhymes stolen by Big Bang Hank, but also this interpolated the bass line and general rhythm and melody from a huge disco hit from summer of 1979 by Chic called Good Times. Play a little bit of that just so you can get a vibe of that. Now, this kind of story behind this goes, Niles Rodgers, who's in Chic, and one of the main songwriters, was out at out at like a bar or club, and he heard his song come on, Good Times, and he's like, and then he hears people rapping over it, and he's like, what the fuck? And he realized, what it was, and so they ended up suing Sugar Hill Records, and Niles Rodgers and someone else from Chic get 100% of the songwriting credits for it. So they get all of the publishing. So anytime Rapper's Delight has been played on radio, TV, used in commercials, used in a movie or whatever, Niles Rodgers of Chic is getting paid from it. So, instantly with the first rap song, we have issues of authenticity, issues of appropriation, and issues of copyright and borrowing that kind of come up, which kind of like, become a major part of the legacy of hip hop music, the story. But yeah, Kember McLeod says, Rapper's Delight forever changed hip-hop music and hip-hop culture's relationship with the music industry. That's damn straight, for better and for worse, right? Grandmixer DST said this. Remember Grandmixer DXT? He said, rap records tore everything apart. That's what killed hip-hop as far as the culture was over. Now, he says that because what happens with disco rap records and rap records in general is, guess who you don't need? The DJ. The one entity you relied on, right? Who was up here while you were here. You don't need him no more. Grandmaster Flash, the illest DJ in the Bronx, saw him go from being the most important person to not recording on any of the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 records with Sugar Hill or Enjoy, like none of them. He became their tour DJ. So when they toured and in concerts, he played with them. That was it, And imagine someone like Flash, who has a crazy ego in general, but imagine him, getting displaced. Now, in general, DJs got displaced. That's why I talked to a lot of hip hop DJs that got a chip on their shoulder, because they're like, it started with us, and then rap came around and and then kind of what happened was DJing kind of carved its own niche through DJ battles and its own sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, and then after Rapper's Delight, right, here's something cool, something that's selling, comes out. After that, all of those crews, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, all of those crews, the Funky 4 plus one more, all of them were like, let's cut a record. Everybody wanted to make a rap record because they saw how profitable Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight was, and everybody wanted a piece of that pie while people were buying, Yeah, Rapper's Delight also helped rap in the Bronx, spread outside of the Bronx and tri-state area. I just want to stress this, So you sit and you look at something and can talk about something and be like, it's so whack and corny, it's so bubblegum and fake, and it is. But on the flip side, it had an amazing effect, because the only way you experienced hip-hop was if you were in the tri-state area and you were going to jams. And now it took that, maybe it was, just a little bit of what a jam was like, just a little bit, and put it on wax and then exported that to the world. So, it's what helped, make hip hop global, for better or worse, right? I mean, it would have never just stayed in the Bronx, but that's like a positive way to think about some things, right? Because you wouldn't have, I mean, hip hop could have died off. It could have, just like any fad, it could have just kind of died off before disco rap records came out. It could have just kind of, you know, and it kind of did with the cultural members, but it started to become mainstream, right? So it could have just died off, and you wouldn't have that now. And it was like records like Rapper's Delight, which captured that and packaged it and put it out there for better or worse. But it did it in a way so, you know, something that could have died off, you know, was able to stick around. The hip hop, you don't stop. Rock it out, baby, rubber to the boogity bang bang, the boogie to the boogity beat.